Hi, welcome back to Somehow I'm Marriage. My name is Noelle.
And I am your favorite host, David.
It is true that David's reels get more views than my reels.
Do you think that it's the way that I look?
I think it is. I think people are drawn to the wisdom of the beard. They're like, let's hear what he has to say.
You could get more views if you just tried
I
harder.
tried a little harder. Well, okay. I mean, that's probably true. That's probably true.
I mean, I get up at dawn to look
No,
this
you
good.
don't. Liar. So,
Sometimes we snooze.
yeah, but today we did. So this episode is all about moving, and it's called Find a Wife Who Loves to Move with You.
No, it's not. It's called Find a Wife Who Can't Pack a Truck Worth a Damn.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay. Back up. This was a local move, David. We did not have to pack the truck top to bottom every corner. We could have done just one room at a time, and that would have actually made things a lot easier. My dad said that I was right. So
I am so angry right now. That's why I'm wearing these glasses, because they help me to channel my anger into death rays. So if you
wow.
like Cyclops,
and we're so in love. Okay.
well, so if you have ever, I would say this. Let's have this kind of as the foreword, if you will. Definitely, it's important to have some things in common when you are finding a wife. I guess some hobbies will do, but that's not necessarily super important. But I would say that beyond hobbies, a sign that you will make it to, say the 15-year mark is if you can ride in a car together and navigate from point A to point B together without killing each other because your wife is naggravating, and you have the GPS lady telling you one thing, and then your wife is naggravating you
If only you would pay attention to the navigation lady.
Right. So this is what I'm saying is that if you can make it through
Look at the picture, David. Look at the picture. The road splits here. You need to be in the right lane.
So you
That's
will.
my helpful naggravation. It causes naggravation. But we have a whole episode on that.
Just let the lady tell me where to. I don't need like two women telling me where to go. So anyway, maybe all right. But anyway, so the other sign that you'll make it in marriage is if you can move together. I would say the naggravation. I mean, sorry, nag. Now I don't even know how to say the word correctly.
Naggravation?
No.
Navigating.
Okay.
Oh, the correct word.
I forgot how to say navigation. Navigation in the car, point A to point B, is one thing, but moving together, I think if you can move together, you'll make it to 50 years. Being married.
We've moved a few times, actually.
Why is this?
It just gets more and more stressful.
This has been way more stress. Yeah. So
well, because we have more people and more stuff. I think that's a big issue. First of all.
Okay, let's dive into this. So you admit that we have more stuff. So that would necessitate that we need to pack the truck, the moving vehicle, if you will, correctly. And the correct manner, let me preface this. The correct manner to pack a moving truck is like the game Tetris. Okay, have you ever played Tetris? Have you ever played Tetris correctly?
I have schooled your butt in Tetris.
No, you have schooled my butt in Dr. Mario, which after this whole thing, I need to take a lot of pills.
No, here's the thing. I agree with you that you should pack the truck like Tetris. Every corner, every block is filled. That's totally fine. I agree with you with that. If we were moving out of state and we only were able to make the one trip with the moving truck. But this was a local move. We had the truck for a few days. We didn't have to pack it tight.
You're not listening to your own words that you're saying. Let's review the facts. You said we had a lot of stuff, and you said we only had a couple days to move. That necessitates, in and of itself, that you would need to play your A game in Tetris, packing every row across. Instead, I turned my back for 5 minutes, and what did I find? It's like the equivalent. You pack the truck, the equivalent of if somebody was playing Tetris and they just held the down button, and all the shapes just start dropping in
No.
one column. And it fills up right to the top in 2 seconds. Game over. And then you have I come back to the truck and you're like, oh, it's all full. And there's these gaping areas, these swathful pockets of empty space within space that you could have filled more in. And then you wonder, you're like, why are you so frustrated?
Yeah, you were overreacting.
That's it.
No, well, we should tell people that we only moved with like 30 boxes. So we recycled those boxes. Because we're trying to save money. So we're like, we pack 30 boxes, we go to the house, we dump them out, we go back and fill up the boxes. So this was quite this process was done very poorly overall. I think the truck was the least of our concerns.
No.
Other than
regardless of how the boxes were packed or how many boxes we had, it was still a crap job with playing Tetris. You through the game. You held down the down button and filled up the entire screen in one row or one column.
But we fought like we haven't fought in a long time about the moving, where there were moments of silent treatment. There were moments of yelling to the point that our kids even did impersonations of us.
What was the impersonation?
It was Elias and Diego. Elias was you and Diego was me. And Elias was saying, "Oh my gosh, nobody knows how to pack a truck. I can't pack this truck. You're doing it wrong. I'm the only one that knows how to do it." And then Diego's responding, "Oh, you're giving me a headache. I need to go lay down." And he's supposed to be me.
Okay, yeah.
You did give me a headache.
You did the same voice for
That's because they have the same voice. They're little boys. They have the same voice.
I appreciate that. That's very refreshing because usually when somebody impersonates the husband, they're like, "Ooh." I thought you got the wives correct. Sounded like two wives, but that's another story.
We were arguing like two wives, maybe. I don't know.
so like Islam.
Oh, you're doing it wrong. My feelings are hurt. Yeah, sister wives. We were arguing like sister wives.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we got our feelings hurt.
That's why polygamy is wrong.
We got mad. But it was just, I think, is that why? Because nobody knows how to pack the truck.
that was like a 5-minute delay before you responded to that. I was wondering. Man,
now you know my processing speed.
I almost said, "Did you hear me?"
Just because I didn't laugh didn't mean I didn't hear you. Heard you. I heard you. I hearded you.
Wow.
But it was an extremely stressful situation. We were on a tight time crunch because we need to get our house ready to sell. It's over 100 degrees every single day that we're moving. We had no help except for one time. And I think, we should bring up that actually, because I wasn't the only one that got mad at you.
The heat is no excuse for you not listening to me. And
I was listening to
letting me play the game of Tetris. You need to be my helper. All right,
I was helping
you.
What's the matter with you?
You took the controller out of my hand and you held down the down button.
You specifically told me not. First, you told me to go get a bunch of stuff out of the house, and then you told me not to macho it up. Oh, fighting words. Because without the powerful strength of your wife, we would not have been able to lift all this furniture and these couches. So I just would like a little appreciation for my machoing it up a little bit.
What I mean by machoing it up, I mean you're acting like a meathead.
Oh no, I was not. I
Like
was
you literally are just like, oh, all right. So we got a few things to tell.
Yeah.
Let's pick one here, because we're at a fork in the road. Which way can we go in this conversation? First of all, I do want to say, from a to your credit, I do want to say from a traditional marriage, gender role, standpoint, I do appreciate having a wife that can lift a couch. We were staying at a house, this Airbnb, with a another friend couple of ours and a priest friend, and didn't what
Yeah,
happened there
I
were
offered to help move a table
you
and
offered to
was
help move.
reprimanded.
Yes, the priest was going to say mass, and he was very traditional minded and stuff like that, and yeah, you were going to move a table, and what did he say? What was
He
that?
said, "No, thank you. None of this feminist bull crap." And I was like, "Oh, well, okay. Who wants to move the table?"
I stepped in. I stepped in and I said, no, Father, you're gonna want a woman that can move a couch. Like
Yeah.
it's great. Like it's awesome. And like so I appreciate that. Like I don't. I think it's not practical sometimes, to just stick with the gender role of, like, the husband does all the heavy lifting, like both physically and figuratively. And I'll give you an example. I saw this old school cartoon. I don't know what it was from, what the context was, but it literally was this kind of superhero looking guy. He was in a nice suit, whatever, and he's with this girl. Don't know who what his relationship was to her, but she's like, he's holding her close, and they're both like trying to get up on these train tracks, or sorry, get off of the train tracks onto the platform there, because they were in a subway, and there's all these mysterious guys in the distance chasing them with guns coming down the train tracks, and he's lifting her, like, holding her close, trying to bring her up on the platform, and with his other hand he's got his handgun, his pistol, and he's shooting back, he's returning fire at these mysterious assailants. And I'm thinking to myself, she is not really helping him right now. I mean, she should pull her own dang self up on the platform so this guy can bring his other hand forward and grip the gun with both hands and get a good, aim on these guys, because he's aiming the gun down here. He's not even using the sights. And it's just like, or better yet, she should pull out her own handgun and they open up on these guys. That's the thing that I'm saying, is like the whole traditional thing is not, it has its own set of this lack of practicalness, and it's the same thing. The flip side of that, it's like, if you go all like, let's eliminate all gender roles, or whatever, and like, the husband can breastfeed. Like, I'll pack the truck. Honey, you rest up. I got this. Like, it's like,
Yeah.
if you go that route, it's the same lack of practicalness. And so I would say that what we had going on was in some way normal. It just is. Like, we're thinking differently. It's an intense situation, and our personality strengths come out, our personality weaknesses come out, and the only thing that got us through that was literally just saying sorry
Hmm.
to each other. And I would also say recognizing, at some point, oh shoot, the other person was right. My friend came and helped us, and at one point you went back in the house and were breastfeeding or something like that.
I wasn't. I wasn't.
And he started helping me to move, and I was like, oh yeah, finally, like lifting things with another man. Like I don't have to like explain how to lift the couch. Like
Wow.
we're just like it's just like telepathic. We don't even have to use words. We're just like in sync, and it's like, man, this is great. Bros before no, I'm just it was just like.
Wow. Well, where was that couch? Where'd you put that couch? I hope it's in a comfy place for you.
We were getting stuff done. And at one point, he said something that you said.
Busted.
Like yes, because he said to me, dude, some of the directions you give, like I don't know what you're saying. Like it's like we're lifting a heavy cabinet, and I'm like, all right, lift it up, and I'm thinking like this part. I'm talking about one part of the cabinet, but he's thinking I'm thinking about like lifting up the bottom because that's the part that he's holding. So my directions are not making sense to him. They make sense to me. That's all that matters. But like he said what you said, honey. I have no idea.
He said, honey. He called you honey. Wow, you guys are closer than I thought. It's okay. Bros can love each other. Like that's fine. He said, honey.
He's my best friend.
Okay.
I hope he's watching this. I hope he.
Oh my gosh.
I'm gonna have to tell. I'm just gonna call him that, like out of the blue
Honey.
one day. Whoa! Why do you think I said that?
I don't know.
That just came out. What do you think that means?
Okay. Wow, that really did make me laugh. I had a tear come out. Okay.
Okay, so either way, at one point he was like, "Honey," he was like, "Yeah." Well, he said what you said. Like, the directions that you're giving me, I don't understand what you mean. And that was a piece of humble pie. Did you have any humble pie where you realized the error of your many ways?
So, yeah, for me, it was just when lifting things and moving things, I just want to go at it. I just want to get it done. That's my personality. And we talked about this actually this morning, and maybe this is a different episode too, but it was like when I feel overwhelmed, I just start moving and moving and moving. I don't pause and come up with a good plan for things. I just want these things off my plate. So I just try to get things done. When you feel overwhelmed, there's almost like an immobility, like, oh my gosh, I'm so overwhelmed. I don't even know where to start. And so I think that happened, that took place in the move. And it took me a minute to figure out that was my personality. Like, let's just go. Let's just put the stuff in the truck and let's just go. We'll unload it. We'll come back. And like, there's a hurry to it and not a method to it. And we did end up, I mean, my humble pie was a couple things that we thought we could bring and move without emptying, just move it, got broken. So that was my humble pie of like, oh, okay, yeah, I need to slow down. I need to stop just rushing through trying to get this done because I'm feeling the pressure of the time crunch that we're on, but I need to be patient. And we both tried, I think, to concede a little bit to the other, but the emotion, the heat, the exhaustion, it was just you and I and our kids that moved our whole house and all the big furniture, until your friend came for the freezer and the refrigerator. It was a lot of stuff just on our little family here, and that it caused a lot of stress and a lot of fighting, where every day the next morning we had to reconcile before we could start the next day.
Yeah. Yeah, and the kids didn't do jack squat. They didn't. I thought we were going to be like a professional moving company, and they would be fired.
Yeah. Well, you're telling them like, guys, go start packing the truck, and they're like, well, what do we do? Because every time we started packing it, you're like, you're doing it wrong. And so kind of figuring out a
Whoa, whoa,
system
whoa, whoa. Well, they
was,
were doing it
yeah.
wrong, and they
See,
needed to be reminded of that.
I mean, we moved 76 boxes of flooring with an assembly line of our older kids and us. I mean, it was just, there was a lot of stuff. And, but every morning we literally had to look at each other and say, okay, I'm sorry for yesterday and let's start fresh today. Because if we were to start unpacking, get my pun, if we were to start
Oh gosh.
unpacking all of our emotions and all of the ways that the other one made the other one feel, it's like, first of all, it was a big waste of time for what we had to get done. And second of all, it just would rehash those feelings that would make us upset again. And we didn't want to go into the next day with those feelings. And I think that that's kind of another lesson to learn with our marriage that we're just learning now is you don't have to unpack every single thing. Every single situation, we don't have to unpack. Well, when you said this, it made me feel this, and I said this, and made me feel this. Sometimes it's I forgive you, I'm sorry, let's start fresh and move on and take the next experiences as they come.
Yes, that is true. But if you notice what happened there is like we would say sorry, but then it's like we would go right back at it.
Yeah, for sure.
And then the temptation is like, well, that sorriness did not work. What's the point? And yeah, I mean the words from scripture come to mind like if your brother sins against you, 7 times, like, no, like
Say, honey,
times that up.
honey,
Yes.
I forgive you.
No, it's honey. It's ma'am.
Oh, to David. David's gonna get us canceled. Okay, go ahead.
All these people that cancel, they're just not artistic.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, like you got to multiply that saying sorry, and not only from a forgiveness standpoint, like you're freed up when you forgive, you're freed up from so many things, like on the inside, on the outside. Forgiveness good, it equal good, but also just from a standpoint of getting the move done. Yeah, like you have to move on,
Mhm.
and you can't sit on the back of the truck, together, kicking your legs back and forth, and you're talking it through like, well, you made me feel, like a little kid again when my brother took the controller and pressed the down button and ruined the Tetris game.
You just have done that this entire beginning of the podcast. You got to wait till you're doing a podcast before you process things.
Well,
Um,
this was very therapeutic for me. As I say on all of our podcast episodes, that's why we do this.
yeah.
Just we do it for the therapy, not for the fans.
Well, and I think too, understanding the mitigating factors, that there were a lot of things that we didn't have control over that were affecting our mood and our interactions. And what you said about forgiveness, you do have to forgive 70 times 7, but sometimes it's the same person for the same stuff.
The same dang thing.
Yes.
She keeps on doing that.
Change is a process. It is not an instant um it's not an instant turnaround most of the time for us. Like change is a process of like, okay, when I continue to do, he keeps telling me when I do this, it makes him upset. So I'm going to try not to do it. But also it is going to take me time to adjust to a new behavior, or a different behavior.
Do you think that that feeling, that scenario, and the feeling related inside of that scenario in this case, I am getting angry at you for the same thing that you're doing over and over again. Do you think that maybe we're put in those situations? God lets those things happen to us so that we can come face to face with that impatience, that anger, that frustration. We can come face to face with that and then recognize that all those other times in our lives, other scenarios in our own lives where we keep doing the same dang thing over and over again, that same dang thing, and God is not like that. Do you think he lets us face these scenarios, with our spouse so that we can have this aha moment with him that he's not like that? and on the day of judgment, he's going to smite you because you.
I'm like, wait, are you saying that I'm not like Jesus?
No, I'm saying I'm not like Jesus.
I'm saying I'm not like Jesus. No,
In
yeah,
that
I get what you're saying.
circumstance, like,
Well,
yeah.
actually, where I thought you were going to go with this is, do you think that God lets us come face to face with this over and over again, so that eventually you get to a point where you recognize the need for um, change or grace or mercy or whatever that core need is. If you and I are constantly grinding up against each other to where it's like it's abrasive and it's hurtful, then at some point you get to a point where it's like, okay, one of us needs to figure this out. One of us needs to change a behavior, or it's mitigating factors outside of where we are, that maybe we shouldn't be doing all our packing and unloading in the 100-degree heat, because it exhausts us and tires us and makes us more cranky and impatient. I mean, there are different ways that we can help to not grind against each other so abrasively. But I think this whole experience of moving with all the chaos of everything and the things that got broken and the rush to do it, I think it gave us a few opportunities to, one, see like, okay, it took those little behaviors that annoy us into this magnifying glass. Like, wow, this really does get on his nerves, or this really does get on her nerves. I'm going to try to do less of that. Do you know what I mean? Whereas maybe if this wasn't a super stressful, high intense situation where those behaviors are coming out more frequently, it might have taken longer for us to realize the significance of how this certain behavior affects the other.
Hmm. I think it happens because I think I get mad at you because there's things in my own life that I am not accepting God's love in. Like a repeated mistake. If somebody makes a repeated mistake over and over and over again, and I'm getting mad at that, I think that in some way, in a spiritual way, is related to my own disbelief in some way, to some degree, in God's goodness, to be able to forgive over and over, 7 times 7. Because if I really believe that, I don't think I would be as mad.
Mm. Yeah. I mean, that's a thing too, where it's like, why won't this person just understand, or why won't this person um you know change right away? And God is very patient with us with our change.
Yeah, I think if I was reconciled with God's goodness to the fullest, like if I really really believed that, with no hang-ups or obstacles, then like if you held down the down button on the controller and packed the truck like the 2-second Tetris game, I would just be like, "Oh,
Oh,
honey,
you.
it's okay. We haven't even put a man on the moon yet. It's all right."
We did.
Now
We
people
did already do
now
that.
people are like, "Wait, he doesn't believe in the moon landing?" No.
He does. Okay. I'm like, clarify.
Yeah, it isn't that was that from a Brian Regan thing?
Yes.
Oh, it's we can have a telephone cord that never gets tangled, but we can't have a man on the moon. Like,
No, it's we could put a man on the moon. Why can't we have an untangled telephone cord? Like, you did that wrong,
oh,
but that's okay.
just like I
I
said,
forgive you 70 times.
honey.
7. Well, so we're just about moved in and almost unpacked, and our house goes on the market next week. So if y'all could throw up a prayer for us that it would
If
sell
y'all want to
quickly.
buy it, if there's anybody out there that wants to buy our house, this is kind of one of the other reasons why we do this podcast, is to sell things. So that being said,